Wow. Hey, people.
We're gonna do Beatles studio albums, quick and easy, because I am gonna yap. And just a little sidebar, I did see Ringo yesterday. It was very, very fun. I did sob my eyes out embarrassingly loud during Yellow Submarine and Octopus's Garden, of all songs. I just couldn't keep it in. I really like octopuses, octopi, and their gardens. They mean a lot to me. Speaking of, starting with Abbey Road, let me describe to you how I view this tier ranking chart here. So D, I feel like would be not my favorite, but still all of these albums are amazing, obviously. So if I put an album that you really like in D, that doesn't mean I think it's bad. Like, even it doesn't even mean I think it's okay. I probably still think it's amazing. It's just like in the context, like you exist in the context of all that came before you. And right, okay. The reason why I made that disclaimer is because I'm like not super passionate about this album. Like, as iconic as it is, I think that there are better Beatles albums. So I think it has I Want You, She's So Heavy, and Maxwell Silver Hammer. Unpopular opinion, it actually was my favorite Beatles song for a really long time. But then again, I cried to Octopus's Garden last night, so what do I know? I just like whimsy and joy, personally. Some people might not like whimsy and joy and actually like to crush people's dreams and be evil villains. That is a personal choice. And all that to say, it'll go in B. I think it's like the perfect middle album. Like, I think that it's not my least favorite, it's not my most favorite of all time. It's like something that I do enjoy listening to. I do think it has some fantastic songs, but on the flippity flop, I think that when I first listened to this album, like all the way through, I didn't like have the best time. Like, it was kind of like overstimulating. So, Beatles for Sale, this is a hot take here on Beatles Twitter. A lot of people are yapping and flapping their yappers about if it's the worst Beatles album or not. I don't think there is a worst Beatles album. I think there's a least favorite and a most favorite, and this one would probably be down there with my least favorite, but I still really do like it. I listen to some of these albums front to back pretty frequently, and that's not one of them. Hard Day's Night. How could you say no to this album? I think this album is solid gold and also needs its pussy aid. So I'm going to put it in A, because I think that it is A+. I think every song on this album is to die for. I could listen to it in my coffin and I would somehow come back to life. Help. This is my favorite Beatles movie. I know that that's actually probably the hottest take that I will ever say today. I just don't care. I think it's so cute. I think it's better than Hard Day's Night because I don't like movies in black and white because my eyes are bored. And call me uneducated because I did drop out of college and that's why I have this sad life. So if you call me uneducated for not liking black and white movies, then you probably would be right. My brain needs to be stimulated at all times. That was a weird sidebar. I still like Hard Day's Night. I think it's a fantastic movie. Oh, if I had to pick one, I would pick the one that's in color because I like pretty colors. I think Help is still slightly underneath Hard Day's Night in terms of albums, not movies. I do really love Help. Help is like one of my favorite Beatles songs, and I know that it's like mainstream, but I think it's mainstream for a reason. It's just so fun and catchy, and I like John Lennon crying for help to a funky beat. Sue me. Let It Be. Everybody look away from the screen. There's actually, look behind you. Look behind you. There's literally like a leprechaun. There's literally a leprechaun behind you with like $1 billion in gold coins, and he's telling you to turn around because he wants to give you all his money and all of his luck and his pot of gold and his rainbow. Moving on, Magical Mystery Tour. Oh, don't even joke, lad. This album is literally like crack to me, or should I say acid. I think that this album is probably one of the best things to ever happen to my ears in my entire life. I could talk about the Magical Mystery Tour era probably forever. I think it's a fantastic album. I think it's a iconic era, and I think it's a hot shit from a butt ass movie. But also, I love that movie. Don't get me wrong. Don't even joke that. I've probably seen it 32 times if I had to guess, but I had to estimate. Please Please Me is underrated. I'm sorry. They started as a boy band for a reason, and they were killing that shit. Alright, what do I say about Revolver that hasn't been said yet? Well, I do actually have something to say about Revolver that I don't think anybody else has ever said in this world about Revolver, and that would be... So when I first listened to this album, I was high off my ass, and I couldn't look at the album cover because it was scaring me a lot. And the reason specifically why it was scaring me is because George Harrison looks like the Zeppelin Woman, as I said before, and I'm about to explain to you who the Zeppelin Woman is, so don't even fret. So the Zeppelin Woman is a woman who kidnapped a kid, I don't know, back in... I don't fucking know. I don't like to think too much about it because it makes me... it makes me shit my pants. If I think about it too hard, shit just comes projectilely shooting out of my ass, and so hard that I blast out like a rocket. I don't think the imagery was necessary, but you kind of get the point. Anyway, she kidnapped a guy and, yeah, drove off into the sunset or something, but there's a police sketch of her that literally haunts my every waking memory, and every time I close my eyes, it's on the back of my eyelids. When I'm trying to sleep, she pops into my head, and I think she's downstairs at my fridge when I try to go to the bathroom. So, this is the Zeppelin Woman, by the way. Yeah. So, you're welcome for the nightmares, and I'm sorry you're never gonna sleep again. Anyway, in terms of the music, it's a great album, I can recognize that, but it's not one of my favorites in terms of eras. I think it's, like, not as funky as the rest of them, so I'd probably put it with Beatles for Sale in my opinion, but other people's opinions might be different, and so we shouldn't judge each other, right? Rubber Soul has my favorite Beatles song of all time on Norwegian, Where This Bird Is Flown. It's my favorite, probably top 3 songs ever in the whole entire damn world. I could probably get that song tattooed on the inside of my ass cheek, and by the inside I mean like you'd have to spread it to look at it. The rest of the album is pretty solid, but that one stands out to me. Like, that song is just everything to me, and I could probably go on for hours about it, but I'm not going to because I'm demure like that. However, the rest of the album is like not as good as these, so therefore it's Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Yeah, probably one of the best album covers out of all of them. It's so overstimulating. It's such an overstimulating cover, and honestly, I notice somebody new every time I look at it. I'm like, what the fuck? Shout out to Bob Dylan. And the scary wax figures of the Beatles that are next to them. I think those actually are probably one of the most frightening things I've ever seen in my life. This is the gayest idea I think any of the Beatles have ever come up with in the history of ever. And that's saying a lot because probably every idea that has ever popped into their head has been a gay idea, but this one is probably the most gay of all, and I think that's beautiful, and of course it's Paul's responsibility, but I think the idea of being a band already and then thinking, oh, let's do an album where we're a band, but a different one, where we all wear like pretty colors and sing funny little magical tunes. I think that's so, some might call it drug-induced. I would call it dick-induced, personally. So, on that note, it's going in A. My favorite era of the Beatles is the psychedelic era. I'm gonna keep S for my favorite album. I'm gonna keep it up there. Yeah, I think the best era of the Beatles is the psychedelic era, in my opinion. You might have a different one, and you know what? That's why the Earth is beautiful, because everybody is different. And therefore, you should look behind you again, because there's a second leprechaun, and this time he has 1,000,001 gold coins. Okay, you can look again. This with the Beatles. With the Beatles. What's with the Beatles? A lot of covers are with the Beatles. I like this album, but I don't listen to it a lot. At all, actually. I listen to it, but like all the way through. Probably only listen to it front to back like once or twice. So yeah, it'll go and see, I think. Yellow Submarine is so cute, but I don't know if it's... Okay, Yellow Submarine is iconic. I don't know what to do with Yellow Submarine. I think it should have its own... Pretend that there's a category, like, on the side called Yellow Submarine, specifically for Yellow Submarine, because it's Yellow Submarine. And I don't think there's... I don't think it makes sense to rank it here. Therefore, it is going in the Yellow Submarine category.